Let's make a fabric collage. You know, I use tons of these. And if you want to know how I use them, you stick around because I'm going to tell you throughout the video how I do use these things. I make them constantly. You may remember that I made this one, and you can tell I've been cutting out of it. And I made this one, which I have a plan for already. And these are so versatile, and they give you something to start with so many times on a project. So, and it gives you diversity and an artsy look to a lot of things that you might want to do. So stick around and we'll talk about that. But meantime, how do I start? Well, I don't always start with a piece of lace, but this time I am. And just an offcut of a piece of batting that was given to me by a friend of mine who does a lot of quilting. So she has offcuts, and it keeps me from having to go out and buy just big rolls of batting when I don't use big pieces, you know. So that's really nice. I appreciate that. Her name is Karen. I won't give her last name, but she's very dear to me, and she's so good to me that way. So let me grab some just bits and pieces up here, and let's just start laying some of them around. Let's see what we can do here. It doesn't have to make any rhyme or reason. Remember that. Whatever you want to use, lace on lace, why not? If you got it, use it. Here's just a piece of fabric. We can certainly use that and break it up with other stuff. Let's see what we got here. Got this piece of green that's going on here. Another piece of this, which is kind of, there we go. All right, we have some of this, but I think we'll wait till we get a bottom layer basically before we lay that on there. Let's see, what else do we want to put on here? We have some of this and a little of this. Let's try that. Let's cut this up into smaller pieces and different shapes. And then, you know, sometimes I like to corner things with some of the same fabric, kind of the continuity of it comes together. I like that. And then we're going to cut these down, and we'll save those and throw those in a minute. Here's a little piece of fabric that I like. Let's put him in there. Do you want to cover the whole thing? Basically, yes. Because when you cut it up, you don't know what you're going to use it for. And you don't want big gaps where you don't have anything. So I would say yes, basically cover up everything. Now, little bits and pieces here, no, you don't have to. But just don't leave any big gaps. Let's put it that way. Let's, I think he needs to be, maybe throw him in there like that. Okay. These don't show too well. Let's put them something else down and then add it. We'll hold them for just a minute. Let's see what else I have up here. It's kind of interesting. Kind of like him. A little different. There's a little purple. Purple with this persimmon orange would be pretty. I'm going to make that a border. Okay. That closes that end down. I kind of like to get my outsides covered, then that really just, you know, sets the tone for the whole thing for me. That's a pretty color. Let's pick that up and that up and that up. Stick it underneath. Okay, it's a pretty color. And we can coordinate it with other things. All right. We're looking good. We're looking good. Let's just keep grabbing some different stuff and see what we got up here. That's a pretty piece. Don't want too much white because it'll appear to be part of the background, but a little piece of it won't hurt. Okay, this is very colorful. Like I said, you don't want everything the same shape. There we go with that one. And we could break up this one down here with this one. Okay, let's get a little of this. Pretty color. It certainly goes with this other piece that we have. Let's get us some smaller shapes out of that. But let's find how we want to do this. I want quite a bit of that to show. So let's do it like that. Okay, we got that. And how can we do this one? This one's a, oh, whoops. I like that one there. Now we could put this one in there. Okay. We could break that big piece up with that right there. All right, let's keep going. Got a little bag here that's got small stuff in it. Let's dump it out and see what we can use. Okay. Oh, some pretty pieces, some unusual little pieces. This pretty pink will go in there. That pretty purple will coordinate there really well. And let's see, this blue. I think that blue would be pretty across there. And that's a gorgeous piece. Let's stick it under there to break up a little of that solid green. There we go. Now what else we got over here? Got more little squares. Okay, now I'm going to start leaving some gaps where the lace can show through. Okay. Let's leave some lace in the middle of that. And that. And let's see. This is just some eyelet. Let's just put some eyelet down there. Okay, pretty much. I'm not liking that tan piece. Let's replace it see what I can find here. There. You know what? I think I'll take that one off and leave the lace there. Take that off and leave the lace there. It's always know that it's nice to know you can take things off. You don't have to leave them there if you don't like them. Okay, that's looking really good to me. I'm thinking, should I break this up just a little up here? Let's see, is there something I like better than that? Let's use a little print. I like that better. Okay, we're going to call that our background collage. We're going to put all this fabric back in our little snippet package I have up here. It just sits in front of me, which makes it really nice. I'll show you. It just has stuff in it, but I keep it replenishing it so that it's just in front of me and I can grab from it really, really quickly. And I've put all my little offcuts and things in there because I make so many of these collages and I use them. Okay, now do I want that? I'm not real happy with that particular color. Let's pull out now the threads and pull this down so you can see more what I'm playing with here. There's some purple. Don't know exactly what I want till I see it. It's a little bit of eyelash trim in a very neutral color. There is, I don't know what this stuff is, but it sure is interesting. Okay, what do I got here? Two pieces going together? I think so. Let's get them undone. Yeah. Okay. These are elements that add interest as you cut up this into smaller pieces for things. You want elements in each of the pieces. You know, just something interesting. Okay, that looks good. Got some pink thread there. Some more pink thread. I have this little piece of something or another. You know, I think I would like to take it and cut it up into shorter lengths. I like the color. It plays real good with my backgrounds. Got the greens and the purples. But I just want little bits of it around here and there. Yes, that's a good look. Okay, when is enough enough? For me, it's just when it feels right. If it looks good and feels right. I can kind of envision now that if I wanted to cut this up into other things, I'd have some really pretty different areas in here. I have a little bit of the lace in the background that's a neutral. I'm liking it all together. I'm thinking I might take this piece out. Yes. Okay, that gives me a little bit more lace. All right, there and there. And I'm wondering if I want to take that one out. I think I do. I like that one. And I think I will pull this over, this down, and leave a little bit more lace over here. Do I want to open that up? Let's go back. I like that opened up, except I don't like this sharp edge here. So I need to do something there to break that up. This is a much smaller piece. What if I just tuck it in like that? Okay, that does the job. Okay, now I'm calling that for me a done deal. Now what I will do here is I will take my roll of tulle here, netting, it's very fine, and I will, it'll take 2 of these to cover the entire thing. Okay, get it out over the edge a little bit. Whoops, don't get my thing out there. All right, let's see. Let's get me a piece out here before. All right. And you see what color that is. It's very creamy, but it's, I mean, it's very nice. And it lets the colors come through. It doesn't distort all the colors. When you sew that down, you get a really nice colors through there. Okay, now the next thing is to pin this. And I pin from the edge inside toward the inside, trying to keep any small elements from falling out. This one doesn't have as many little tiny elements as some of my others do, and that's really important to get your edges pinned well. You may have to put more pins in them just to protect it from anything falling out, because when I take it over to the sewing machine, which I am going to quilt this on the sewing machine, turning it every which way, the stuff tends to fall out. Okay. You want to also know where that edge is, where that one meets the other, and you want to pin down that really well so that when I go to the sewing machine, I know I want to find that edge and sew down that edge, because I don't want it coming up on me. So I always pin really close to it so it's easy for me to find when I'm over at the machine. Okay. Then I like to pin down the center, or, you know, in the inside, or wherever you want, but just to hold the rest of that together. Okay. Now, when I take it to my machine, I use a wave stitch, and this one you can see that I sewed one direction, turned it, and sewed the other. So it has a nice quilted pattern when I get through, but the pattern of quilting really doesn't show because this is so busy to start with. But what that does is you can see it really locks in the areas tightly. Now, before I take it to my machine, I will turn it over and cut off all this excess because it gets in my way when I'm sewing. Okay. Now, I said I would tell you how I use these. For junk journalers, they're beautiful just to cut out hearts, stars, shapes of any kind, clusters, tucks, anything that you want to do to have a fabric, touch of fabric. You can cut it in long strips, use it down the side of your page. You can make belly bands, cut a strip, sew your cardstock on the back, and it's stiff and makes a great belly band. You can do all kinds of things for your junk journaling. For your slow stitching, if you've looked at any of my videos, you'll notice that my birds, a lot of them start with a background. For instance, this bird here was cut out of this fabric here. The background for this bird is this fabric. So while it looks like I might have done a lot of stitch work and patchwork, I didn't. I took it out of this, okay? The, let's see. The flower element on here was cut out of a collage. You can, I've made florals where I cut the petals out of the collage. There are all kinds of things you can do with them. I have cut tiny houses out, trees and foliage for landscapes. I have cut strictly like when you want a strip to go through a landscape. I've used collage. You can imagine how a strip of that will look in a collage. It's hard to tell you without, but it gives you the texture that you're looking for through a landscape. So if you have several of these made up, you will never run out of ways to use them. Cut them as patches, sew them on your kids' jeans and backpacks and things like that. It just goes on and on and on. They make great toppers for little pin cushions because they're already cushioned, and once you put the other part underneath it, you've got a nice top there. Let's see, you can also just flat use them for a junk journal cover. Just get them sewed down for, you know, if you want to make a small junk journal cover, you've got a beautiful cover right here. All right. You know, I would trim off the edges that don't have enough going on out there, trim it up to the where you want it, and then if that were trimmed up and then turned and used, you can see what I'm talking about. That makes a really pretty cover for a junk journal or needle case, anything like that. Okay, this is done. You can see it didn't take very long at all. It is a great scrap buster. It is great for your leftover threads and bits and pieces of yarns and decorative yarns that are left, things like that. And you can get all kinds of color tones. I mean, look at the differences here. And it's nothing but what I chose to use in there at the time, pulling out of my stack. And so I have, sometimes when I'm working on projects, I'll just cut up a lot of confetti type stuff in different color sets, put them in a bag, and then I'll just pull out the bag, and there it already is. Now, these two were offcuts, again, from my friend who quilts. The little slivers, after she gets through die cutting her pieces and things, lots of tiny slivers, she bags them up and gives them to me, and I use them like this. Isn't that pretty? I believe this is going to be my next gilded teapot. I think that'll make a gorgeous teapot. But as you can see, just off the top of my head, there's a million ways to use these things. You can dream up even more. The other day I was watching, which I have made in the past, but the pennies, the round pennies, they call them, hand-stitched. You cut circles out of this and stitch it. It's just beautiful. I've made them before. I wish I had some to show you, but I don't think I do. No, I don't. I know I had something that I made. Let me see if I can find out of my embellishments. Oh, here it is. No, that's not it either. But this is one of the flowers that I use, that I cut out of one of these. And but that's not the embellishment I'm looking for. There's the little circles, one of them that I cut out of okay, yeah, this is it. I cut the little circles out, okay, double-sided them, and put a tag on it, and that's a gorgeous little junk journal or dangle off of anything that you want to put it on. Isn't it cute, double-sided like that? Anyway, they're just, you know, just let your imagination run wild. But if you've got a lot of scraps and they're just hanging around and they're not being utilized, collage them. Now, I use manageable collage sizes because I've got to get this under my sewing machine. I don't want to sew for hours. I can go over there and in 5 to 10 minutes, I have this completely sewed down. Then it's just like this. It's just ready for me to use when I get to it. Normally, I have about 8 or 10 of these laying around all the time, but lately I've been using them. And right now, these are all I've got. And so that's one reason I wanted to make this video. And I get to keep this after I get through. So, but anyway, it shows you what to do. So jump in, scrap bust those scraps you've got, and make some beautiful collages, stack them up, and you'll be glad you did. If you've got a gift-giving season coming up, these make wonderful little phone cases. Look what a pretty phone case that would make if it just little key pouches. I make them for about that size, and I'll put a kind of an envelope cover over and Velcro it, and that's what I carry my house keys and my credit card and things like that when I just want something in my hand, but I don't want to carry a purse around. So there's another thing for it. You could take something like this and make a decorative trivet for your table or side table. See, I could sit here and dream up stuff all day long, but you've got an imagination of your own, I know, so you can do that. But anyway, I wanted to share that, and meantime, y'all, stay scrap happy.